Week 4 Life Stressors Journal. Were you surprised with your life stressor score? Why or why not? After taking the assessment in the textbook, I discovered my score was a total of 565 points. This score indicates that I am at a higher risk for illness. I was not surprised about my score, as I feel as if I have had a rough year, more so than previous years. I realized it was going to be high as I dealt with the death of my mother and father in law this year, and not only just within the same year, but their deaths happened in the same week, even. This has been stressful for the entire family, and my husband and I have been struggling with the loss of our parents at the same time. I also have been stressed out with work as there have been a lot of changes, and am not always the most receptive to change. What major stressors are impacting your wellness? At the moment, the most two stressful things in my life deal with grieving my deceased loved ones and work. I'm currently 7 months pregnant, and I tend to get overwhelmed with feelings of loss and grief because my loved ones did not know, nor will they know, the new child my husband and I are bringing into this world this fall. I did not think this would bother me as bad as it does, but it really is very stressful. As I also mentioned, work has been changing for me on a regular basis. The company I work for has been bought and sold 3 times in the past year, and with each new management team comes new policies and regulations. It has changed so frequent that getting my job done has been difficult with the new terms and conditions of the most recent company. Which dimensions of wellness are impacted by stress? Every single dimension of wellness is impacted by stress. When I am stressed, I have been known to stress eat. This could mean a binge on foods not good for me despite knowing how dangerous it is. This is where comfort food really comes to play. Stress takes a toll on emotional wellness as it becomes hard to balance emotions and to be able to deal with the stressors of life. Spiritual wellness is impacted because through stress, we as people do not learn or maintain ways in which to be more grateful, forgiving, driven, and guided due to the cloud that is stress. Stress can also impact our willingness to learn or engage in activities because of how it may be seen as more stressful to deal with more on our plate. A stressed out person may not exactly focus on anything environmental because of what we feel we may have time for based on what we are dealing with. The last thing on my mind when I am stressed out is to focus on nature. I more or less continue to think about what is going on until it becomes exhausting. This stress carries over in our work lives and may even be added to because of things going on at work. Stress can also impact our social dimension because of the attitudes it brings. If I am stressed out, I tend to shut people out and I don't want to be around people. I realize it may help to talk about my issues, but I don't always want to share, as I also feel that the people around me have their own things going on and that they don't need my issues to focus on either. Describe and demonstrate the relaxation technique that you tried in your video journal. After reading the relaxation techniques in the textbook, I decided to use a combination of sorts. I chose to put together the techniques of visualization and music therapy. I decided the best music to listen to while I imagined a tranquil scene was by a group called Two Cellos. They are a cello duet group from Croatia that I have had the pleasure to see in concert twice. They play renditions of popular songs, classical pieces, and original scores all on their cellos, and I felt this would be soothing. I laid back in my recliner and put a playlist on my iTunes for 30 minutes. I had my husband take my daughter for a trip to the store so I could do this and not be disturbed for the experiment. I set the laptop with the playlist down and envisioned I was walking along cobblestone streets in Croatia, soaking in all the culture all around me. I could see the boats on the water next to the buildings and the people using them to travel in between the streets. I felt the warm sun on my skin, and I imagined I could smell delicacies at small family-owned bakeries. I continued to walk through town until I reached a villa in the distance and snapped out of the vision when my husband returned. Do you think the relaxation technique you tried would be effective in reducing your stress level if practiced on a regular basis? Why or why not? For the 30 minutes he was gone with our daughter, I felt relaxed and as if I had just been on a mini vacation all to myself. I was able to see something different than my problems or troubles. I didn't focus on anything bad. I focused only on a set location while listening to swooning sounds that made me fall in love with my surroundings all the more. I envisioned the scenery. I think this would be very beneficial to me if I decided to make it a regular thing. I could continue to travel in my mind to serene locations with the help of soothing music. It really did help to focus my energy on a place with no worries, so I feel keeping this practice in my routine would help me channel my stress. What are the major health risks and diseases associated with distress? Cardiovascular disease is a huge risk factor of stress. Stress also puts a person at risk for depression, obesity, headaches, gastrointestinal issues, sleep issues, and anxiety issues, just to name a few. Stress puts the body through a lot of trauma, and issues can arise in any area of the body as a result. What two strategies that effectively deal with distress would you consider using on a weekly basis? First strategy in dealing with distress is taking the time to relax. It sounds difficult to manage time to sit and reflect, but it helps more than I thought it would. It channels energy to focus on positive things instead of sad or depressing things. It puts the person practicing the technique in control, even when the person feels out of control due to stressful situations. The second strategy for dealing with distress would be to converse with a trusted individual to voice concerns and get either a fresh perspective on things or get relief from being able to voice concerns without judgment. It would benefit a person to be able to voice concerns and have a listening ear, as bottling these feelings leads to more stress.